Basically, the goal of this photo shoot was to show that you can dress masculine, you can dress feminine, but at the end of the day, you are still the biological sex that you were born as. People tried to expel me. People sent me death threats. I was doxxed. I had to move out of my house in Savannah, Georgia and move home to Nashville, Tennessee. I lost nearly every single friend I had at school.
I'm glad Max Butera graduated, because now when I say I'm gonna beat her ass, she can't run and scream and cry to SCAD and be like, I'm being threatened and bullied. No, babes, when you see me, you're gonna have to call the fucking police, because I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you. No more calling Be Well, babe. You're gonna have to call 911.
Hi guys, my name is Maggie Wegner. This is the Patchwork Podcast, which I'm so excited about. My entire goal with this podcast is to piece together perspectives on culture and politics through a Christian conservative lens. I feel like I've been so many different things throughout my life, so many different people. I have very strongly been on the left and I've very strongly been on the right. I've been on the center. I've been a Christian and I've also been an unbeliever. I've been an athlete and I've also had times where I'm incredibly lazy. I feel like I've gone through so many different things. It has given me perspective on so many different situations around the world where I'm now able to see both sides of so many situations. My main goal with this podcast is to hopefully provide you with meaningful commentary on social, political, and cultural issues going on around the world, and specifically in America. So just to introduce myself a little bit, my name is Maggie Wegner. I'm 22 years old. I was recently married in September. I graduated from Savannah's College of Art and Design with a bachelor's degree in graphic design, and I now work for XXXY Athletics full-time, doing their social media, graphic design, website, photography, whatever they need. They are the first athletic brand to stand up for women's sports, and they are absolutely amazing. So that is a little bit of who I am and where I've been and where I'm going. So today I wanted to start out by talking about a story that is how I feel like most people online know me at this point. But to get into that story, I feel like I need to provide context and background to the entirety of the story and how I got to where everything happened and how I got canceled and how I dealt with it and everything in between. So I went into SCAD in 2020, and at the time I was a very strong believer. I was a Christian, non-denominational, and I was also conservative. My mom was really worried about me going to SCAD because she was like, you're gonna turn into like a liberal crazy person. And I was like, no, my beliefs are so strong. And part of my defense for it was I'd rather go to a place where there is not a lot of Christians, but the real Christians are genuine, strong believers, because you have to be a genuine, strong believer to be a Christian in a place like that, rather than go to a Christian school where everybody's a believer, but nobody really is a believer. And I truly did believe that at the time, and I truly did believe I was going to remain a believer, like all throughout college. I was planning on going to University of Tampa, and I was going to major in marine biology. I was so excited about this, but then my older sister was like, Maggie, you have to look at SCAD in Savannah, Georgia. One of my friends went there. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Like, I think you need to go, because I've always loved art and creativity and everything. I had done photography for a long time. I had done t-shirt designs and all of that kind of stuff for a really long time. So I was like, okay, but I'll go tour it. So toured it, loved it, ended up deciding to go to SCAD over Tampa. I pretty quickly turned into the loving Christian, where my entire goal was to be a very loving and accepting Christian. So that translated into LGBTQ is not a sin. I was very, very active in talking about mental health and medication and how much I struggled online with my mental health. Like, I was way too open about it online, to be honest with you. So I really got into researching, what the Bible says about, is being gay a sin? Is it not? I looked into the historical context and I came to a conclusion that it's not a sin. We've had it wrong. We have to look at the historical context, all of that stuff. Stay with me here because I did have a change of heart. So I met so many amazing people at SCAD, like the most creative, artistic, amazing people. Like, I just loved the people I met, and I wanted to be accepted by them, and I wanted to be loved by them because I loved them so much. And so for a lot of that translated into me backing down on a lot of my values and starting to transform my values. So I no longer believed that homosexuality was a sin, and I pretty quickly became pro-choice and, started to have just a lot of different political beliefs rather than what I'd grown up with. And I voted for Trump in 2020, but I very specifically remember remember one of my friends asking me if I voted for Trump, and I said no because I was absolutely terrified of being blacklisted by all of these people that I loved so much. Like, I was like, no, I want to be accepted. I'm not a bad person. I just liked his policies. So I told them, I was like, no, I voted for Biden. And I am not a liar. Like, I don't lie to my friends. Truly, in that moment, I did lie because I was so scared that I would be canceled. And I remember there was a girl on campus that had voted for Trump, and people knew about it. And like, she was known as like the MAGA girl. Like, that was like everyone, like she was like blacklisted because of that. I don't know if she knew that, but I knew that from the people I was around. So moving forward, as I said before, I struggled with mental health horrifically. I started struggling with it my sophomore year of high school. By my senior year, I was at an all-time low. I struggled with it horribly. I ended up, going through a lot of different facilities trying to get help. I ended up on a cocktail of medications. I was at an incredibly high dosage on everything that I was on. I was on guanfacine, Wellbutrin, and Prozac, and incredibly high dosages of all of those. I got to a point where I was incredibly sad, where I could kind of feel nothing. It wasn't a positive anymore, and it might have helped me at the beginning, but I got to a point where it wasn't very helpful. So fast forward to my junior year of college, I stopped believing in God at this point. I felt like there was not enough evidence for him. I felt like I had struggled so horribly in my life. Like, if God is real, why would he allow this to happen to me? And so I don't believe in God at this point. I am very, very liberal at this point, and I have given up on a lot of my old beliefs. But I had always wanted to go into graphic design for social, political, and economic issues. Even when I was on the right, I wanted to do it, and when I was on the left, I wanted to do it. And so it was always something that I found fascinating and wanted to do a lot of research on. So I was reading the book Case for Christ because why not? I was interested, I end up going to France, and I'm doing a lot of research at this time on politics, on religion, just in general, all that kind of stuff. And I go to France for study abroad. SCAD has a campus in Lacoste, France, and I was there. It's in the south of France. I think it's like 8 hours from Paris. It's absolutely beautiful, and it was such an amazing experience. And when I got there, I started to notice that nearly everybody around me was LGBTQ of some sort. Many people were they, thems, and many of the girls there were transgender, had binders, looking to get on cross-sex hormones, or were already on them, or maybe they just identified as a she, they, it, he, whatever it may be. And I'm like, this is like kind of insane, because how is this possible? Something that statistically such a small portion of the population deals with. How is this like everyone on this campus is LGBTQ of some sort? I'm doing research, and I become very interested in transgenderism in general. I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me how such a large portion of the population is so randomly struggling with something that shouldn't be affecting a very large portion of the population at all. I'm watching documentaries, I'm watching interviews, I'm reading books, just trying to truly understand and learn about it. And I come across a documentary, I believe it's called Epic Times, and Chloe Cole is in the documentary. It's about transitioning and detransitioners and all of that. It was such an amazing documentary. I encourage everybody to go watch it. And I was watching it, and I remember thinking to myself, like, wow, she's so cool. She's so beautiful. Her story is so powerful. I wish that Vogue would take a photo of her and put her on the cover of Vogue and share her story, but Vogue would never do that because that doesn't go with their political agenda. And I thought to myself, well, I do photography. I'm not a professional, and I know that, but I do feel like I have a good eye for creativity. And so I thought, why don't I reach out to this girl and just ask her if she'd be interested in doing a photo shoot where I share her story and what happened to her, because people need to hear this. So I just went on Instagram, I DM'd her, and I sent her the mood board for the entire shoot. Basically, the goal of this photo shoot was to show that you can dress masculine, you can dress feminine, but at the end of the day, you are still the biological sex that you were born as. So you can express yourself however you see fit, but you are still your biological sex. So there was a feminine concept, a masculine concept, and then the newspaper concept. The newspaper concept was where we were going to build out a dress of all of these different detransitioner stories all around the world, because people say it's never happening. And I'm like, I've heard tons of stories of it happening at this point. So I design out like these little newspaper things with real stories of detransitioners all across the globe. The goal was to have Chloe wear it because I felt like she was representing the movement. And so we did the newspaper dress. I had to start reaching out to people because I was so excited about this project. I was like, this is gonna be like my senior project, even though it wasn't a school project. So I started DMing SCAD students, and right around the time I had watched the documentary, I finished the book Case for Christ. When I finished the book, I felt like there is no way God is not real. There's so much evidence for his existence and for the existence of Jesus. And I gave my life to God in that moment when I finished the book. I ordered a Bible off of Amazon France, and I started reading it. I started praying. I asked God for forgiveness for all of the horrible decisions I had made in the last 2 years that were clearly just not good decisions for my life, not decisions that glorified him in any way. And I truly just felt like I cannot believe all of the decisions I've made to get to this point. And at this point, I am like, after I give my life to God, I had struggled with mental health for 6 years. It was a struggle that was not going away. Doctors told me I would struggle with it for the rest of my life. I was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, anxiety disorder. I was on so much medication, and they were like, look, you have to learn to live with this because this is one of those things that's gonna last forever. So after I gave my life to Christ, God blessed me in a way that I cannot even comprehend the difference it made in my life, because I genuinely do not know if I would still be here today if I had continued struggling with mental health in the way that I did. But he lifted all of that off my shoulders. And for what reason, I have no idea, because I was a believer for many years while I still struggled with mental health, and it never made sense to me. But the mental health issues were gone. I genuinely don't understand. So when I was studying abroad, this was my junior year, this was the spring. So study abroad starts to come to an end. That summer, I slowly get off of all of my antidepressants because I was like, I'm good. I have Jesus, I don't need them anymore. For some reason, Jesus chose to lift it off my shoulders. He didn't have to do that, but for some reason he blessed me and he did. And I will forever be grateful for that. And I will never understand, like, with someone who had made all of the horrible decisions I had made, like, why God chose to bless me and take that struggle away from me, but he did, and I'm so grateful for it. Back to DMing Chloe. I DM'd her and I said, photoshoot opportunity. Hi Chloe, I just wanted to start by saying I followed your story for some time now, and your willingness to say the truth, even when it is not what people want to hear or what is popular, makes me want to be a better person. I hope you know how many lives you're changing every day. I also recently watched a documentary you were in on Epic. It was both inspiring and heartbreaking. While watching it, I thought to myself, I feel like I've seen this outfit on my photoshoot board on Pinterest, and that simply made me tangent into a huge idea. And I sent a video after that explaining the entire photoshoot concept, what I wanted to do, because it was like way too long to put in text. She responds, she's super excited about it. She said this was, her first photoshoot opportunity. She was so excited to, get to be creative in this way because she loved that outlet, and she was so kind and so nice. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think she was gonna respond. Like, she responded and she wants to do this. I think Chloe Cole's the coolest person in the world. She just responded. Like, I'm so excited because her story was that inspirational to me that I was like, holy crap, like, I cannot believe she responded. And so she wanted to do it. So I start looking for people to help me build out this photo shoot. At this point, I'm a believer. I have become conservative at this point. While I was in France, like, I did a 180. I was like, I've seen too much of the craziness and the repercussions of being a liberal by the decisions I have made, by the decision my peers have made, whatever it may be. And I'm like, I'm a conservative at this point. I'm a Christian, so things have changed. And so when I start going to look for people, I'm like, okay, well, the only people that are going to help me on a project about a detransitioner, and let me make it very clear as well, the point of this project was to share Chloe Cole's story. That was the entire goal of this project, but also the masculine, the feminine concept, the newspaper concept, that was part of it as well. But Chloe Cole, people say that transitioning doesn't happen to minors. She was 15 when a lot of this happened. She got put on cross-sex hormones. She had a double mastectomy all before the age of 18. And she very much came to regret that. She was below the age of 18 when all of this happened. She's not going to be able to breastfeed. She has permanent issues from everything that happened. You can't go back when you make these decisions, and people are lying and lying over and over again, trying to convince children that puberty blockers are reversible. They are absolutely not reversible, and they have a lot of side effects. And I just want to share some of those side effects so people really understand the gravity of what we're talking about. Weight gain, hot flashes, headaches, mood changes, growth spurts, bone growth, bone density, fertility. These are all things that it could affect. That's absolutely terrifying to be a child and to be able to make a choice about the chances of you being able to be fertile or not. I still don't want kids. I'm 22. I'm very sure that that is probably going to change for me in the future. But would that not be terrifying for me to make a decision at this point in my life right now where I don't want kids that could very much affect myself in the future when I very much might want kids? It is way too much power to give to a child to make that decision when they don't even know who they are yet. I wanted to explain some of the gravity of that situation because it's mind-boggling to me that people genuinely are out here supporting this. We have watched thousands of detransitioners come forward speaking their story. This should not be happening to minors. If you're an adult and you want to make that decision for yourself, by all means, go ahead, do whatever you want, but you also need to understand that you are still the biological sex that you were born as. You might have physical health repercussions. You might not be able to go into the women's bathroom if you were born a male. And that is something that you're just going to have to learn to live with, because at that point you're infringing on other people's rights. And that's where it becomes absolutely ridiculous. I start DMing people on Instagram. I look for people that have Bible verses in their bios of some sort, because I'm like, the people that are probably going to be okay with doing this shoot are going to be Christians, because there's a lot of Christians that are still willing to stand on the truth. I find a girl, her name is Caroline Lanier. She's one of my very good friends at this point now. I just DM'd her on Instagram. We didn't know each other at the time. She's a fibers major. I genuinely didn't fully know what a fibers major was at the time. And I just knew it had something to do with textiles and fashion. I explain the concept to her, I tell her about it, and I've been rejected by so many people. And basically when I DM'd people, I said, hey, here's this project. I would love for your help. If you want to help and you don't want to be tagged whatsoever, because I know this is a controversial project, I won't tag you, but you're more than welcome to help. You can use it for your portfolio. You don't have to. Whatever you want to do. And so I gave people that option. And so with every person I DM'd, I let them know, I will add your tagging and information and make sure everybody tags you and gives you credit for the work you did, or I can hide it if you want to be a part of this project, but you don't want your name out there. I give everybody that option. And she was like, I'm all for this. I love this. Let's do this. And I was like, great. So we start working on that together. I DM another girl separately that was a painting major. And I was like, could you do makeup probably? And she was like, probably. And so she joined in on the project. It actually turned out to be Caroline's roommate, which I'd not known at all. And it just worked out like that. She was a very amazing, kind person that helped us on the project as well. And so I then DM a girl that I asked to rent out the photo studio for us and to do the lighting for us. And she was like, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if I want my name on this, but I can do that for you. And I was like, great. People said I broke university protocol or whatever. I don't care at this point. Every person breaks university protocol. The amount of students I saw go into photo studios that were not photo students that found a way to rent out studios, so many people did it. The problem with me doing it was the fact that I had a story that people did not like to hear, and they didn't like the way I represented it, which is absolutely fine. You're more than welcome to your own thoughts, opinions, and beliefs, and I respect that. We build out the entire project. We build out the dress. We practice the makeup. Chloe comes into town. This is mid-September, I believe, when we shoot the project, and we had been working on it for months at this point. I was so excited about this. I had poured my heart and soul into this project because I cared so much about sharing her story and having it be known. We shoot the project. I want to say it was about an 8-hour shoot day. At this point, I'm in the editing process. It takes about 2 weeks to edit. I am asking for advice and permission from everybody in the group as I edit about what I'm editing onto the TV screens behind Chloe in these photos, because we had computers, old TV screens and stuff behind her, and I wanted to edit images and words and sayings onto them. Before I posted, I had everybody's permission to put what I put on the TV screens, and we were all in agreement as a project that this is how we wanted to present the project to the public. So I posted it onto my Instagram, which is Mags Wegner, and Chloe posted it onto hers, Caroline posted it onto hers. The first photo I chose is a photo of Chloe. She's sitting there flipping through a dictionary, and honestly, not a lot of people were gonna pick up on this, but the point of that was because we've lost the definition of what it means to be a woman or what it means to be a man. And on the TV screen behind her, it says children cannot consent to puberty blockers, mutilation does not equal medicine, and do no harm. Honestly, this was less controversial than the second image that I put. The second image that I put says, repeat after us, trans women are men, which is an objectively true statement. And if you disagree with it and you want to call me transphobic, have at it. but I know the truth that men cannot become women and women cannot become men. And that is a biological reality. And you are more than welcome to call me bigoted, to call me transphobic, to call me hateful, but I know the truth. And when you know as a Christian what God says about you, what the world says about you does not matter. And that is simply how I made it through the horrific comments that I will soon share. And also, let me make it clear, I do not view myself as a victim in any way in this circumstance. The entire point of this project was to use my skills to help share Chloe Cole's story. And this project ended up, I'm reading the viewer insights, it ended up reaching over 112,000 people from an account that at the time maybe had 3,000 followers. So I think this is really important because the goal of this story was to have discourse and to share Chloe's story, and that is what we accomplished and we were able to do. And so I'm very happy with the way the project turned out. I don't regret a single thing about posting this project because while my intentions were not to offend or to hurt anybody, I understand that is the nature of sharing a project. When people carry gender ideology so close to them where it is their entire identity, or LGBTQ is their entire identity, of course, somebody coming to disagree with you in a place like SCAD that is so openly LGBTQ loving, accepting, and tolerant, feelings are gonna be hurt and people are going to be upset. And I understood that before I posted this project. And I knew in my head there was going to be a large amount of backlash. I did not know how large the amount of backlash would be. People tried to expel me. People sent me death threats. I was doxxed. I had to move out of my house in Savannah, Georgia and move home to Nashville, Tennessee within 3 to 4 days of posting the project. I lost nearly every single friend I had at school. I had to move my jazz dance class online because I had to move home. Do you know how hard it is to do jazz dance class online? It is incredibly difficult. So this is my senior year. Genuinely, I was heartbroken because I cannot explain how much I loved the friends I had there and how badly it hurt when I lost them, which I will get into that. So we have the repeat after us, trans women or men. Then we have a post that says woman, an adult human female. We've got, the feminine concept in here, and then we also have the newspaper concept, and then we have the masculine one. And now I'm gonna get into a little bit of the backlash that we received because the death threats I got were a little bit ridiculous. They were a little bit ridiculous coming from the party of love, acceptance, and tolerance. So let's just get into it. I would also like to point something out before I get into these. I never blocked a single person. I never deleted a single comment. And I tried my very best to be kind and respectful in all the comments that I responded to. So the entire fallout of this photo shoot is still up on my Instagram. You can still go look at this. You can read through every single comment, whatever it may be that you want to look into. It's all up there still. So this one says, stupid AB KYS, which I'm not going to say what that means in case that gets this video taken down or anything. The amount of comments I got to KYS is so funny, coming from the party that preaches love, acceptance, and help people who are struggling with mental health. Someone that had struggled for 6 years with not wanting to be on this earth. The amount of KYS comments I got, whoa, mind blown. They were flooding through my website, my design website. People saying, yourself, I hate you, tie around your neck. I was like, guys, let's all calm down. Kumbaya, it's gonna be okay. This one says, if I see her, it's over. Let me know if you got class with this thing. This one says, this photographer is a piece of S. If you follow her, please block me. I'm so done with you transphobic pieces of S. KYS. That's their favorite little acronym. Then they get into some of the hating on my appearance. You look like a meth addict, unfeminine hips, manly jaws, big hands, large feet. Someone has a secret, huge ankles, man feet. And then someone commented, oh, like the one trans women have. Isn't that a compliment to you people? Some of the people were really coming to bat for me in the comments here. I mean, it got to a point where I was not reading comments anymore. My husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, was going through and screenshotting these. He was finding every SCAD student that was in these comments, screenshotting anything that was cyberbullying, telling me to kill myself, whatever it may be, because I submitted all of this to SCAD for them to deal with it because I said cyberbullying is not allowed in our school policy. Yet you guys are watching all of this happen and you are doing absolutely nothing about it. And they said, well, it's a repetitive thing. Well, I had a girl that was quite repetitive. She put so many things up on her story about how she wanted to kill me and all her little friends. I will get into that in just a moment. Here are a couple more of the DMs. The only truth here is you're a miserable little C with no brain cells whatsoever. I wish your face was recognizable enough so I could fight you in public if I ever saw you, but unfortunately, you look like every other boring white girl. Sad face. Insecure attention whore. Now, personally, I thought this was one of the really sweet ones. Super sweet. She wasn't trying to put me in a chainsaw, rip my skin off. So it was quite sweet of her. I think our next step should be circulating the names of the students who liked this post. They shouldn't be let off easy. If you liked the Instagram post, they want to come after you now. Someone commented, maybe we should make them wear gold stars on their clothes so we can identify them and put them in a re-education camp. You guys are absolutely unreal. And then someone commented, doxing people now. You people are absolutely insane, because I was doxed. This one says, and a big F you to that B Mags as well. I hope in 3 days a rash so inexplicable starts to pop up around your skin and all you can do is ache and scratch as your fine little layers of your skin start to peel with such vigor that no skin graft will ever truly heal the scars left over. Because I said that trans women are men, which is a biological reality and a biological truth. You might not have liked the way I said it or how I did it, but that is a truth that you and I both know. You are incorrect on this matter. Trans women are not women. They are not biologically women. Sure, go ahead and identify as a woman or as a cat or as a dog, but you are still your biological sex. That is never going to be something I will back down on. That is a hill I will die on, because it is a basic truth. Moving along. This one says, I genuinely hope John Kramer is real. I have no idea who that is. So he can put the 4 of you in a saw trap so painful and inescapable that it is not even worth trying to save yourself. I'll build it myself. Here is the most insane response of everything that I got from the entire backlash of the photo shoot. Now, in this video, I blurred out this person's face. I'm not going to put their names. I don't want names of any of these people being shown in this video, because that is not the point. The point is to talk about the public response. But this video is absolutely insane. I sent this video to the police at this point after this person posted this to their Instagram, very proudly posted this. So this is the video.
Honestly and deeply from the bottom of my heart, I'm glad Max Butiera graduated, because now when I say I'm gonna beat her ass, she can't run and scream and cry to SCAD and be like, I'm being threatened and bullied. No, babes, when you see me, you're gonna have to call the fucking police, because I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you. No more calling Be Well, babe. You're gonna have to call 911.
Once again, this is the party of love, acceptance, tolerance, and peace. So that is a very quick synopsis of the type of response I got. I cannot count the level of death threats, calls for my expulsion from SCAD, people trying to ruin our lives. Then it comes to losing all of my friends. Now, like I said, I have about 2 friends at SCAD that I had before this happened that I still have. I've made some friends from students that have silently reached out and said, I'm a conservative too, but from friends that I had before this project happened, I have about 2. So when I first posted it, this was the confusing part. A lot of my friends had known how hard I was working on this project. They didn't know that it was gonna say, trans women are men or any of that, but they knew that I had put my heart and soul into this project and that I was sharing the story of a detransitioner, Chloe Cole. At first, I had multiple friends that I was very close with commenting on the post, I'm so proud of you, this turned out beautiful, I know how hard you worked. To be honest, I was shocked by that response, because I was like, man, I honestly was a little bit worried that they wouldn't want to be my friend anymore after this, and they still, they were commenting nice stuff. I want to say about 4 hours, maybe 3, maybe less, into posting this photo shoot, their comments are deleted. The text they had originally sent me saying, I'm so proud of you, you did such an amazing job, they're now texting me saying, you're so transphobic, I'm so confused. They're commenting, this doesn't make any sense. This is so hateful, I don't agree with this. Right after having agreed with me. So I'm only led to believe that it's because of the public backlash you were receiving and you didn't want to be associated with. All my friends are unfollowing me. I'm getting texts, Maggie, this doesn't make any sense. You were always this very loving, kind, accepting person. What is this? The photos suck. Whatever, I had some of my best friends posting the projects on their stories saying this sucks, screw the photographer, F her. I have friends texting in group chat saying F you, Maggie, you're a piece of S. Flooding my phone. I mean, it's so overwhelming to go through something like that all in the span of one night, I mean, I had all my friends the day before and the next day they want nothing to do with me. It's like the cheese touch. Do not be associated with this transphobic, bigoted conservative that somehow got onto campus. It gets to a point where it's like love and acceptance means loving everybody, accepting everybody, even if they have a different viewpoint than you. And I still welcome that. You are more than welcome to comment on this or whatever you want to do and share why you disagree with me and why you think I was wrong or why you didn't like the photos or how I could have done better. You are more than welcome to, because America is a country of free speech, and I fully believe in that. I do not believe in canceling people, and I'm still not sorry for the project that I posted, because I shared a very important story that needed to be shared. About a day or two after posting the shoot, I get a call from a professor of mine who is an amazing professor. All of the professors I had at SCAD were absolutely amazing. It was seriously some of the best 4 years of my life, and I'm so glad I went there still, and I recommend it to everybody who's a creative. Like, I still believe you should go there because it's so great, and the people are so talented there, especially the professors. But he calls me. I don't know how he got my phone number. And he's like, hey, Maggie, I'm having a lot of students saying that, like, I need to remove you from my class for a project you did. And I'm, like, really confused because the last project you did was about the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Like, I see no problem with that. You are free to your religious beliefs. And I'm like, oh, yeah, like, I don't think that's what they're talking about. I think what they're talking about is this. And I send it to him. I'm like, look, I used a SCAD studio. This was not a school project though. It was like an independent project. I don't know why they're trying to get me expelled. You know, I mean, I understand why they're trying to get me expelled, but legally it didn't quite make sense to me. He's like, you know what? I see no problem with this. Like, you are sharing your own beliefs on your social media platform, and you have just as much of a right to be here and learn, like, regardless of this photo shoot, just as much as the next person. They are not going to be able to expel you. And just between me and you, I agree with this project, and I also know that there's a large amount of professors that silently agree with you, because we have a group chat of conservative professors at the school that we stay silent, but there are a decent amount of us here, and we just don't speak about it, and I want you to know that. And I will forever be grateful for that professor telling me that encouragement at the time, and feeling so much less alone, knowing how terrified people were to speak up about this. I mean, I'm terrified at this point to go to school. I call the SCAD security people, and I'm like, look, all my classes are online except one, my jazz dance class. And I'm terrified to go to school because people are saying they're gonna kill me if they see me. Could a SCAD police officer, we pay so much money to go to the school, guys. I'm like, could a SCAD police officer potentially meet me at my car and walk me to class and walk me back to my car after class? They're there to protect us. There's a lot of them as well. Like, there's a lot that just drive around and look for anything going on. Like, there's plenty of them. And they were like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, okay. I tried to get the Savannah Police Department to help me out, because, like, I'm genuinely, these people are gonna try to kill me. These people are insane. They're not able to help me out. I was supposed to go back to school, but I had enough absences left where I could miss 1 or 2 more days. And I worked it out in that time to move my jazz dance class online, which incredibly difficult to do jazz dance class online. I wish I still had the videos somewhere backed up that I could find them. It's horrific. Like, I can't dance to save my life. Now imagine me trying to dance to jazz on a Mamma Mia song at 3 a.m. in my playroom and submitting the video to my professor. It was atrocious. If you guys wanted punishment, that was punishment enough in itself. You know, my boyfriend ends up coming to move me in, who's now my husband, with his family. They move me out, and I go back home, I finish out the quarter. I have 1 more quarter left there after that. Do it all online, and after everybody trying to expel me, I graduated. And I'm so proud that I graduated, because so many people did not want that for me, just because I was willing to say that trans women are men. And I will never back down on that, because it is a basic truth. So people were very angry. The hardest part of that entire experience was losing my friends. It wasn't the cyberbullying, it wasn't the death threats, it wasn't moving or being doxxed. It was losing my friends, because when you leave college, you normally are able to FaceTime and text your friends, and it's like they're still there and they still love you. Mine, it was like literally the cheese touch. It's like, never check in on her. We see she's getting death threats, but I'm never gonna just text and say, look, I hate what you did, but I do think death threats are wrong. Like, it wasn't any of that. It was, I don't want to be associated with you ever again because you were willing to do this. And regardless of what anyone had ever posted, they could have said something incredibly hateful about Christianity or conservatives or whatever it would have been. I would have still loved them, because regardless of their social, political, economic, religious beliefs, I loved them for them, who they were, not for their beliefs. And I think that is so important to remember. Do not cut off friends and family because of their political, religious beliefs. That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of. We can all coexist. That is a beautiful thing, to be friends and to love people that aren't the exact same as you, that disagree with you. That is a beautiful, amazing thing. So not long after, I get a DM from my now boss, Jennifer Say. And she's basically saying, hey Maggie, I saw your photo shoot. I have a project I would love to work with you on, for you to do some e-commerce photography. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I thought I was blacklisted, because everybody was saying she's blacklisted, she's never getting a job after this. And I'm like, crap, which I wanted to go into the conservative creative industry. I wasn't trying to go into the liberal creative industry. So this wasn't actually the issue everybody thought it was bringing on me. I was also hoping to get noticed by a company that I loved, that was like a conservative industry. So that was definitely a hope in sharing her story as well. She says, like, we're starting a company called XXXY Athletics. It's a company that stands up for female only sports, you know, in this transgender sports era that we're living in. I get on a call with her and my boss now, Brett Craig, and they're both like the most amazing, fun, cool bosses ever. I genuinely don't know how I was so lucky to get this job, and I genuinely fully, once again, like, all credit to God, because I don't understand how these things end up happening for me. I get on a Zoom call with them, and they basically are telling me stories of how they got canceled themselves. And they're like, look, we get it. We've been canceled. We've had the death threats. We've lost our jobs. We've had to move everything, you know? They completely understand what I'm going through. And they're like, well, we're going to let you know. Peace out. At this point, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks later, they reach out. They're like, hey, we're ready to start talking to you. I'm like, yes, you know, like a job. And so I haven't graduated at this point, and we have I start developing like the social media look and feel and mood boards, and like what we're looking for is like an overall look and feel with Brett, my boss. And then we have our first photo shoot. Let me tell you how unequipped I am as a photographer. I'm not a professional, once again, as we all know, and you will see many people point out in the comments of my Chloe Cole photo shoot. I've been doing photography though since 9th grade, and I'm just horrible with technology. I think I have a very good creative eye, but like the technology aspect overall in my life, I'm not good with technology, which is so ironic because I'm a graphic designer. We go and we shoot. We're working with Paula Scanlon, Riley Gaines, like really amazing people that I respect and like look up to so much. I mean, at this point we'd shot at least 6 hours. We'd been up since 5 a.m. at least in the morning. We got to a gym to shoot people. You know, we're shooting these people. I go to switch over to the video settings on my Canon. And I had recently switched over to a Canon from a Sony for this project. So I was like, I want to be like so elevated and have like really great photos. Well, I accidentally reformat my SD card and delete about 7 hours of photography of these people. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm the idiot that is still in school, that they took a chance on, that just deleted about 7 hours of photography. In my head, I'm like, do not cry right now. Do not cry, because if you cry on your job, like, do not cry. So I don't cry, but I'm freaking out. I go to some SD store nearby that says they can fix any SD card. They couldn't fix this one. We have to reshoot, long story short, some of the stuff. I was doing like a lot of the side photography, not the like main e-commerce photography. Anyways, we end up retaking the photos. They take another chance on me, and I end up saying, hey guys, I think once you guys launch the brand, you're gonna need somebody to run your social media, do your graphic design, make videos for you, do your website, literally whatever you want, I'm your girl. And so I send them my resume and a cover letter, and I'm like, here, please hire me. And they end up hiring me. And so I go part-time, which really like felt like full-time at the time, because like I was in school going through so much at the time. So there was just like so much work. We were developing this brand. I end up getting proposed to on April 19th. I get engaged. I'm planning a wedding. I'm still in school. I don't graduate until June. And I am working for XXXY Athletics. I start full-time 2 days after I graduate. I'm planning a wedding that happens in September. We have 4 months to plan it. It's like a whirlwind of things going on in my life all at once. So many people tried to cancel me. It felt so good to graduate, but it was so heartbreaking because 2020, I didn't have a normal graduation from high school because of COVID. And there I was again, not getting to walk because I was too scared to go back to school. And that's honestly something I regret. I wish I had gone back and just walked and been like, I have no friends, I'm walking, I graduated. I wish I could have done that. But I felt like I didn't have a lot left there because I wanted to celebrate with the friends who I loved, and they did not want to celebrate with me, obviously. The hardest thing, I really struggled not being able to walk and to graduate and to have that experience, because I had looked forward to that so long, like graduating with all my best friends and having that experience and like all going off to our big jobs we'd worked 4 years for, and like having that. It didn't happen that way, which is okay. I'll survive. But it was really heartbreaking at the time. Like truly, like I really wanted that and I didn't get to have that, and that's okay. But now we come to January that we're in now. I work full time for XXXY Athletics. I'm married to the most handsome, amazing man I could have ever asked for. He's just been there for me through everything. He's so funny and he's so amazing. I genuinely, once again, I'm like, God, why are you blessing me in all of these ways when I messed up for so long? Like, it doesn't make sense to me in so many ways. But I hope this video encourages people, no matter what. If you are a conservative on a college campus, do not let the hate get to you. Speak up about your beliefs. Go join Turning Point USA. Go find friends, join a church, find people that have the same beliefs as you, and don't be scared in the way that I was for so long after I became a conservative again. It doesn't matter, because if you're doing what you love, and if you know at the end of the day what the Lord says about you, it does not matter what the world says about you. And as long as you are living in accordance with God and his desires for your life, like, I see no issues. And I'm so excited to start this podcast to just kind of give my takes on culture and politics and social issues. So welcome to the Patchwork Podcast.